Hey now.
Coming to you from the Radio for One studios in Franklin, Michigan. Welcome to the Detroit Cast.
Big fan. Big fan.
A show not just free of charge, but free of FCC regulations.
And what can we expect?
Surprises!
Engineered by Jay Timko and produced by Eric Beatty. And without further delay, it's showtime! Please welcome the Detroit Cast. Here are your hosts, Mike and Jay.
You're on, asshole!
Alrighty. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday edition of the Detroit Cast. I'm your host, Mike. Jay is right there. Eric is over there paying no attention to shit, as usual.
He's staring me down.
Par for the course, yes. Well, you just threatened him a second ago, so he's probably keeping all eyes on, just make sure no fists are coming a-flying. Timko is here as well, the whole gang. How you doing, Jay?
Very well. Eric's pressing my buttons today, man.
He is. Every day. Presses everybody's buttons. I recommended that maybe...
I don't know why I'm here sometimes.
We've all been trying to figure that out. But I recommended that he try, like, Ritalin or I can't remember the other ADHD drug that they give to adults, but something, like, maybe... Because he just doesn't pay attention at all. And I don't think it's a conscious thing. I just think he goes, oh, a bird, and then he just looks over there, and he's gone. He's off in his own world. Wouldn't it be hilarious, though, if Eric, like, if you got him the right medication dosage, and he just dialed in and was a brilliant guy?
I still want to do my IQ. We need to do my IQ test to see my IQ. How
yeah,
high
we'll do that.
You've got to do that.
You know what's funny?
See how high or low,
Well,
whatever.
Or high. But
Low.
I would say this
Adderall. Thank you, Timko.
This isn't as much on the paying attention, but also like off the wall, how I'm just always bouncing off the wall. And I always remember a few years ago, even I had a friend's dad who was always like, if only Eric maybe. And I was training for a marathon.
We have to take you walking each day and burn you out a little bit so you can lay on the tile floor and cool down.
Exactly.
Tongue hanging out of your mouth.
Right. That's what he was trying to get at. And like the day, then that next day we were doing trivia. We had been doing this bar trivia every week, and I had ran 20 miles that day because I was training for a marathon, and I know.
Ooh, training for a marathon. Shut up.
No, that is a big deal. But anyway. But no. But the point is, like that night, I was still just bouncing off the wall, still just like couldn't sit down, just. And he's like, Jesus, dude. But
well, Eric's not going to be dialed in today or anytime soon, so don't get your hopes up. But we will do the IQ test at some point. It is a Wednesday edition of the show, as I said, and we got a lot to get to today.
It's a big show.
It is. Can't believe Lions preseason football is almost upon us. Literally Saturday they start with the dumbest thing in all of sports, preseason football. But still, it's good to see football back, and so we'll get into a little bit going on at training camp. Another 12-year-old killer.
Yeah.
And I do mean 12-year-old child killer. Unbelievable. The Spurs with some big news, world champs, and some good news coming out of their camp. Also, another masturbator going to town on himself. Look at my dick, check out my dick.
Another day, another masturbator.
That's right, they're everywhere. They're among us, as Jay often says. The Port shooter trial is about wrapped up. We'll get into that in a minute, but Kid Rock is really kind of stolen the headlines from everybody, as only Kid Rock can do. Why don't we start there today? And basically this really almost doesn't even involve Kid Rock, but he was kind of dragged into this story regarding the Insane Clown Posse guys.
And that's why he's pissed. It doesn't involve him.
Right, yeah, which is Shaggy, Too Dope, and Violent J, the famous clowns. And one of the guys in their camp is accused of sexually harassing a girl who is part of their camp as well. And this is a classic case of having a fraternity-type atmosphere and trying to become a legitimate business at the same time. And you mix those things and you get stuff like this, where a girl is in an environment where you've got pigs running around and they claim sexual harassment. And I can relate. The Drew and Mike Show could have been sued countless times over the years. Mark and I had to spend tremendous amounts of time really doing our homework before we ever brought a female intern into the place. I didn't worry about the Eric Fades of the world being sexually harassed and claiming harassment, but we didn't. We
Better be careful. There's a 3-year statute of limitations.
That's okay. It's been 3 years since I had a girl there.
Okay.
But and the girls were treated fine by us, but man, you know, it was a rowdy atmosphere we were in. There's no doubt about it. We're doing an entertainment show, and you're trying to
Boys will be boys.
Boys will be boys, which doesn't stand up at a court of law, but it makes a lot of sense at the time when you're going through it. You know, we've gotten away with a lot of things over the years. We just had, and so you don't even see it coming. I didn't see it coming. You're just blindsided by it.
I always wondered, as I got more and more into employment law, and I got more and more into these cases, I always thought of you, like, fuck, how is he?
It's a miracle.
Yeah, I remember even talking to you during the years, like, man, do you ever, you know, allegations about, how does that go on?
There's been very few.
Yeah.
I think there was one girl, and I don't even know what happened to it, who claimed something, and honest to God, she would have been the least of my concerns. You know what I mean? Like, you don't see it coming. It's a landmine. It's underground, and all of a sudden you're in trouble. And it reminds me of the time when we'd left the microphone. Would have paperwork everywhere, so it was very common for him to have paperwork like this, and then just kind of smack the buttons on the pots so that the individual pots would be off, and it would leave 1 or 2 microphones on, and usually they'd be on the other side of the board, because they go like mic 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way around the console. And so you'd have all these things off, and then you'd leave 2 of them on over there in the corner. And so usually one guy would be sitting there, and everything he says is just being broadcast. And there's a delay. There's a 25-second delay on your broadcast. So all of a sudden in 25 seconds, why are the phones blowing up? Why is email blowing up? And immediately all 4 of us would go right to the microphones. You just knew, holy shit, Drew left the microphone on. And there were times when, there was one time in specific when Clark was talking to Jen, this intern we had, who was a really cute girl, and the mic was on right behind him, and he's talking. People will remember this. This played out on the air, of course. But he's talking about, like, off in the distance out the window, there's some smokestack, and he has like a 3-minute conversation, never swears, never says anything. Dude, I cannot
a remarkable
stress,
3 minutes in his life.
It is the most remarkable stretch. Mark and I were in the room. Jen was there. Clark was there. At any time when the mics were off, it was fuck, cunt, shit, fuck, motherfuck. That's all that went on in that studio every day for 18 years. That's it. And this one break, it was a fucking miracle. Not one swear word went out over the air. I don't know how commercials are bland. You just hear this.
Hey, look at the smokestack out there in the background. That's beautiful.
It's like, the fuck, the gayest little conversation ever, and it's captured for. So anyway, I don't know why I thought of that, but yeah. So back to Kid Rock, he gets dragged into this case, and Jay, you probably know more about this than I do. The details about it. So there's a third party.
Yeah, basically
member.
it's a sexual harassment suit filed by this chick, as you say, who was kind of hired to be part of their management team, ICPs, right. in some way. There's some sort of office setting, and she's
in
working,
Farmington Hills. I think they've got their offices.
She's working as a publicist or something like that. Mm-hmm. And she ends up filing suit against, as you say, the two members, Shaggy Too Dope, Violent J, and then this other guy, Dirty Dan.
Okay.
And there's allegations that, Dan's, if you go through the complaint, of course, this is her side of the story. So these are allegations that she puts on paper, and then the other side tries to defend against them. So this is just a snippet. It's alleged that Diamond proceeded to tell plaintiff that he had a fat cock and that he liked to fuck her. On another occasion, he bought her a gift over the weekend. Plaintiff told Diamond Dan that she was not interested, as she sensed what may be in the bag.
What's in the bag?
Yeah, he opens the bag, pulled out was a velvet bag, and revealed that it was a clear dildo.
Okay.
Plaintiff was extremely offended and stated that she did not want it, and plaintiff felt violated, blah, blah, blah. And so there's just all sorts of allegations in this several-page complaint.
Just inappropriate things.
Inappropriate shit. And so what happens then is you enter this discovery period where you depose people, you call them in for depositions. Mm-hmm. We talked about that before. So plaintiff's counsel, these guys from the Razor Law Firm in Royal Oak, and that's relevant because they're about to be mentioned by Kid.
Right.
They call in, people, and they're deposing them, and one of them is Diamond Dan. He gets deposed, and in fact, I've got a page of the transcript, of the relevant page here.
Okay.
The question is, did she take the dildo from you? So this is her counsel asking Diamond Dan.
Okay.
He says, no, the dildo is gone. Counsel says, where did it go? Diamond Dan says, Kid Rock has it.
Uh-oh. Famous last words.
Yeah. So then counsel says, oh, okay, well, hold on. Do we have a piece of here? He's going to have him draw the dildo.
Oh, God.
Given that you don't have it, why don't you draw
it for us?
I wonder what that looked like. And then the guy answers again. Diamond Dan says, I think I gave it to somebody that gave it to Kid Rock. It's gone. It's been gone. And then the questioner says, well, we're going to have to subpoena Kid Rock to get this. And the answer from Diamond Dan is, no, it's gone. So is
he backtracking then after he spits out Kid Rock's name?
He spits out Kid Rock and senses like, oh, shit.
I shouldn't have said that.
Pulled Kid Rock into this possibly. But if you think about it, did he really? Is it relevant where the hell the dildo is?
Yeah, everybody knows what a dildo looks like. Why would they care?
So
why do lawyers care about things like that?
Well, this is why these guys care. Speculation. Well, I won't. It's not speculation because they released a press release with it. They subpoenaed then Kid Rock. They said, Kid Rock, here's a court order to produce that dildo.
Yeah.
And they issued a press release that they did this.
Which we all saw and got.
Which we all saw, and we talked about that. And
that press release means jack shit, nothing. Nobody cares about it at all if it doesn't say Kid Rock at the top.
Exactly. If it says Joe Schmo, some guy's looking
Eric
for a dildo.
Fady.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
You never talk about it.
It's not newsworthy.
So Kid Rock, we talk about, well, he's got to respond to this thing. He's
legally.
Now, this is a court order to respond. So he has to have his lawyers, actually file a response or bring a motion to quash the subpoena and all this shit.
Right.
So we're expecting that it'll just be like, I don't have a dildo,
Yeah.
So there's my response. But he has a pretty creative response, which you can go ahead and read.
Yeah.
He goes ahead and drafts a couple of letters to these lawyers.
Which is just beautiful. Kid Rock, we've seen this before. If you remember a couple summers ago.
The guy breaking in his house?
No, well, that one too, but the guy, oh God, how did this story go? There was a letter he wrote to a woman who accused him and his company, Made in Detroit, of not having their clothing made in Detroit enough.
Okay.
And it was kind of this. He granted this interview, gave this full interview with her, and then it was kind of a shit piece that slammed him for, oh, where is this clothing made? Some of it's made in Taiwan or whatever. And Kid Rock and Timko, you could probably find the letter that he issued to the Free Press about her, and it was hilarious. He fucking tore her up for this shit piece she did on him. And so this doesn't surprise me in the least that he would send out letters like this. Like, oh, you're going to drag my name into this shit? Okay, here we go. So Jim Razor, who you mentioned, is the firm in Royal Oak.
And they're the ones representing the woman who's claiming sexual harassment. And they're the ones who issued the subpoena. So they ought to be. And the press release. And the press release. So they ought to be the focus of his ire.
Right.
So this is.
But he sent 2 letters.
He did send, and we'll get to that.
We'll get to that one in a second. The first one, Dear Jim Razor and John Marco, I'm told you have issued a subpoena for a quote-unquote glass dildo that was supposedly given to me. No idea what you're talking about, and I definitely don't have it. I've never seen or met any people involved in this case, but I'm pretty sure you already know that. What I do know is that you've been dragging my name around in the media to gain attention for your sad-ass excuse for a law firm. I don't care what you do when you finally catch up to the ambulances you chase, but I do care when you bring my name into it for no reason at all. Let me ask you this. Say in a lawsuit that another crappy firm was handling, your names were brought up for no reason. You wake up one morning excited for a new day of exploiting the legal system and people dumb enough to look at your website. Nice pictures, by the way. Did you study from someone you've ever heard of talking about how – oh, no, wait. Did you study how to look like douchebags in college? I haven't seen their website.
I haven't either. That's awesome.
And when you open the newspaper, there's a report from someone you've never heard of talking about how John Marco and Jim Razor got caught molesting animals at a petting zoo while high on bath salts. Now, imagine you weren't the scumbags you are, but a citizen who has raised millions of dollars for his hometown, spent hours helping to promote the arts, had helped wounded veterans returning from combat. Say you were people who aren't a blight on our planet. Wouldn't you be pissed off that your name for days on end was being mentioned in the press when everyone involved knew you weren't involved in any way? Welcome to my side of the story, Kid Rock. Fucking beautiful. You gotta love it.
Yeah.
The second one is to this total piece of shit, Brian Knishes.
Hold on. Before you get to this one,
What happened?
This is to Brian Conscious.
Brian Conscious,
who's the lawyer
who has no conscience. Clearly, this rat for his.
I know Brian personally. I know him professionally. He's a good dude and a good lawyer.
Yeah.
So.
And it sounds like he is kind of an innocent bystander in all of this.
He's the lawyer representing Dan Diamond.
Okay.
And so what he is he's sitting in that deposition with Dan, and he's instructed Dan, look, just tell the truth. You know, respond to these questions, tell the truth. He can't control what Dan says. You know, he can't change what he. Dan's lying about the dildo. He can't. What's he supposed to do? Dan, you know.
Yeah.
Are you lying? If he knows he's lying, that's one thing. He doesn't know he's lying. I mean, the guy told. He testified. I mean, what's Brian supposed to do about it? So I feel bad for Brian in one respect. I mean, I get where Kid's coming from here, but a little bit of context to this thing, I think Kid Rock might have a little bit different response to Brian, because Brian really had no control over this. He's just representing Dan, who said what he said, and you know, he can't control what Razor did. The
press release,
the press release, that wasn't Brian's. Right. So Brian, again, good guy, good lawyer, is about to take the brunt of Kid's ire right here, man.
So, dear Brian Conscious, I'm told that your client has testified under oath in a deposition that he presented a former employee of Psychopathic Records with a glass dildo, who then allegedly gave the dildo to me. There are only two possible explanations for what your client said. Either he is an absolute pathological liar who for some insane reason decided to make up a bullshit story using my name, or two, he thinks he's a comedian and was trying to be funny. If he was joking, then he's just an asshole who wasn't funny. But if it was not 100% clear that he was attempting to make a joke, then he just lied under oath, because I've never met your client. And if I had ever met your client, I'd certainly remember if he tried to give me a glass fucking dildo. Even if it was the Razor law firm that sent a press release to the press, you have done nothing to clear up this blatant lie, which makes you to blame too. It is obvious that all you assholes are using my name and notoriety to garner publicity for yourselves, which makes you the worst kind of scum. You're the type of lawyers that make America a worse place for everyone. I live in Detroit because I can stay out of the fray here and live my life the way I choose to. If I wanted to deal with this shit, I'd move to L.A. And if I want press, I can get it. Trust me. No matter why your client said what he did, it's clear that you, your client, and the Razor law firm have gone out of your way to help get this story told. How would you feel if one day your name appeared across the internet connected to a story that you knew absolutely nothing about? One day you came downstairs to the angry glare of your wife, who asks if you really were arrested over the weekend for driving high on crystal meth with a bound and gagged hooker in your truck. Did you? Because it's all over the internet. Some lawyer you've never met put it out in a press release. Must be true, right? I'm guessing you probably wouldn't like that, and would at least appreciate it if the guy who made it up admitted that you never did those things. Your website says you represent people who are interested in doing the right thing. I don't believe that, but prove me wrong, Kid Rock.
Jeez, poor Brian.
Well, it's not as harsh as the one to the Razor guys. Kid is simply pissed off that, hey, motherfucker, you know. How could Brian know that? First off,
right?
Brian couldn't know that, and as his lawyer, he's got to defend the guy.
Yeah,
that's what his job is. So he can't really come out and go, "Oh, that my client lied on the stand."
The guy's Brian. That's the truth. I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
You know, look, I didn't lie. That's what happened. All I know is I gave it to some guy who said they gave it to Kid Rock. I don't know. That's the truth.
Yeah. Probably a fan of Kid Rock's.
Yeah, and he's probably the biggest.
Who isn't?
Right? Kid Rock's probably the biggest celebrity in Michigan right now. Probably the most widely respected.
Yep.
And to be told basically shove a glass dildo up your ass, you personally, Brian.
Your name, everything.
Fuck, that sucks.
It does suck.
Just sucks. But thick skin, he'll live. Fight another day. I just wish. I think Kid Rock would have probably reacted different to Brian had he had. I wish his lawyers would have given some context as to what Brian's role in that was, because it really was kind of a guy in the middle. So.
Yeah, and Kid probably knows that. There's no doubt that Kid would have run this by attorneys. You would think. I used to share a lawyer with Kid Rock. Ooh, Novak was Kid's lawyer, and so it was great to have that access before, we lost Mike Novak. But yeah, this stuff is amazing, and Kid is
but it's refreshing in a way, right?
Yeah, it is.
People speak their minds.
That's what we love about him. You know, the fact that he doesn't, show up at the Ivy and places looking for free press. He can get press whenever he wants. And if you're going to drag his name into it, he's not going to sit back and just let that go. He's going to do something like this. He's done it before. As I mentioned, the Susan Tompor for Free Press, right? Free Press writer?
Yeah.
Is there anything I need to remember about that story? Or is it pretty self-explanatory?
She just called him out on, like, it's not really made in Detroit.
Okay. Do you remember this, Jay, at all?
Susan Tompor's been around. I mean, that's a major writer for the Freep, right?
Yeah, and she took a major beating. Dear Susan Tompor, let me first start off by cordially inviting you to go fuck yourself.
Oh, shit.
I love it.
I have always said that I do care what people in my hometown think of me, and the hatchet job you have just written about the Made in Detroit company in the Detroit Free Press has made me so upset that I am left with no choice but to defend myself and my company. I purchased Made in Detroit out of bankruptcy and asked a friend of mine, Tom Duback, to give up the security of a good-paying job at a car dealership for a chance to help revitalize the brand. The goal of MID is to reinstill a sense of Detroit pride, give back to the community, try to create jobs in our home state, and maybe one day build our own facility somewhere close to the riverfront in Detroit. We have succeeded in most of this and have big plans for the future, not to mention the scholarship fund we have created at Wayne State, the numerous sponsorships we do every year, and hundreds of thousands of dollars we give to local charities, all of which somehow had no place in your attempt to slander us in your article. You failed to say that the majority of our products are in fact made in Detroit, or made in America, excuse me. Let me address the small number of MID products not made in America, which were explained to you but you felt unimportant to print as part of a well-balanced and fair story. You didn't care about printing the fact that 98% of all clothing sold in America is not made in America. It's very difficult even to find quality and affordable USA-made products. Lord knows we have been looking from day one, not only for the MID brand, but also for the Kid Rock merch we sell on tour. A simple phone call to my Kid Rock merch company, FEA, or calls to our supplier would have told you this. The majority of America still import the cottons and other parts needed to make these items from outside the country. In addition, we have never laid claim to our items actually being made in Detroit. It's been on our website since we took the company out of bankruptcy, what we are about. Made in Detroit has created jobs for people in and around Detroit. We've made money for local merchants, donated money to many local charities on behalf of MID, Badass Beer, and the Kid Rock Foundation, along with creating 7 jobs at MID alone. As the owner of Made in Detroit, I've never taken a dime of salary or profit or even expensed a meal. We, like most brands in America, use some products that are not created in America. That doesn't mean we can't do better. Away from those products, affordable and keeping us keeping us and the stores that depend on us in business. You will find a list of things we have done with MID below, in which we are extremely proud, and because of these and many other things I have been able to do, I walk around my hometown with my head held high. You and your editors ought to be ashamed of yourselves for not only entirely missing the point of what we do, but trying to knock down MID, myself, and other local brands that have done nothing more than try to prop our city and state up. I'll finish by saying that as a result of your article and lack of respect for not only you but from your editors, the Detroit Free Press is on my shit list and my subscription has been canceled. And yes, I will go so far as to ask other like-minded folks to do the same if they are tired of garbage, irresponsible reporting like yours. If there's one thing I've learned from growing up in and around Detroit, it's don't take shit from no one and be proud of where you come from. I am. Fuck you. And to the bloggers and press, if you choose to only print part of my statement, please give a link to my website or make my whole statement available on yours. Sincerely, Kid Rock. Yeah.
Awesome.
You don't want to go sideways on him.
Hey,
Thoughtful guy, man.
Yeah, well-spoken. It's awesome. What's up?
It's been more than 3 years, so I think, unfortunately, I can't file a lawsuit. But, Jay, do you think this picture would be enough to give me a little sexual harassment with Mr. Walters?
What is going on there?
Is that the Play-Doh dick I made?
They looked like they had strap-ons on, and they're violating Eric's ears.
That's you making me suck your Play-Doh dick, and
yeah.
Bentley fucking me in the ass.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's been 3.
Looks like Bentley's is going in your ear, no? That's your ass?
Well, my head, actually. Yeah, but whatever. Point is, I know it's been 3 years, but I don't know if I would have a lawsuit for sexual harassment with that.
Well, yeah, you don't have.
Just let it go, Eric. Boys will be boys.
personally, I remember when I was talking about the Nikki Sixx book that I got
Oh, that sucked.
Dude, I feel for your boy Brian.
Yeah.
Because I've been there where I thought I was helping out. This book is being written. It's a reprint of a book that's really, really impossible to find. It's expensive, hard to find, and they're rebooting it. They need funds, and I donated money to it. Got my name in the book. Thought I was helping out with all the best intentions. It's a of Nikki Sixx book, and was told Nikki was totally behind it. And as soon as it started to come out, along came the press release, and Nikki Sixx tore this fucking shit. And every blah blah, he just fucking bashed everything. Wanted nothing to do with it, and if he could have sued people, he would have. And it was like, wow, dude, I was totally misled, and that sucks because I really like Nikki Sixx, and so I feel for your boy Brian. Is there anything else to that
that he didn't get an actual signed copy of the letter? He got it emailed, so he doesn't actually get an autograph.
Well, I got some Kid Rock autographs. I'll give him one. That's funny, man. Well, good for Kid, I guess. It's funny nonetheless that
yeah, for sure,
that he writes that stuff. He knows it's going to be big story, so yeah. Why don't we talk about the other big story in Detroit, the porch shooter, which we mentioned is kind of wrapping up here today, tomorrow, and then what'll happen? They'll go to the jury.
Yeah, it'll go to the jury tomorrow. They're doing closing arguments.
Yeah.
To begin tomorrow, and then it'll go right to the jury, and they could take however long they take.
I kind of don't know what the best way to do this is, because I feel like we've talked a lot about this story, and I don't know how much of this is new and relevant.
Well, wait, when we say
exactly,
so that, yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, that's exactly it. And I'm as I read it, I'm trying to remember, like, oh, did we know this yesterday? Did we talk about this? But basically, Ted's on the stand. Theodore Wafer is on the stand. He has been, anyways. A lot of attorneys felt like he needed to be on the stand and show real emotion in front of the jury if there was any chance of them believing his side of the story. I'm always, whenever these stories come up, I'm always interested in your opinion, Jay, like just as an attorney, because there's no doubt that you read these stories differently than the general public does, myself included in that. So I don't know, not to put it on you, like, what do you think? Do you think he's did it or not? More so, do you think a jury will find that he's guilty of murder?
Yeah, it's a tough one. He's charged with second degree and manslaughter, and
obviously they're hoping one of those will.
Yeah,
the prosecution wants one of those to hit.
I think well, boy, there's a decent chance it'll be a hung jury, but my gut says he will be convicted of second degree. I think they're ultimately going to reject the idea that he had a reasonable and honest belief. I think they're going to have a problem that he opened the door.
Yeah.
I think, had he sat there behind the door, sat there ready to shoot whoever came through that door, absolutely. You know, if that's the fact pattern. But the fact that he's so scared and he's so, he's so in fear that he then opens the door, I think they're going to have a problem with that.
Well, the only thing I would say to that is I would agree, except that I could see, now he hears banging, supposedly, if you believe his story, from the side of the house, coming across the front, and then at the door, and he didn't whip open the door and find her standing there and boom, shoot her in the face. Now, if he had done that, I would agree with you, but the fact is, he crept open the door with his one hand, with the gun in the other, and then, if you believe his side, all of a sudden she pops into view, and he boom, and fires. So there's a difference there in just opening. It's not. I could see doing that. I always try to put myself in this situation. Like, what would I do if there was something going on outside and I had a gun, which I do, and I've walked out of my bedroom before with my gun loaded, cocked, ready to fucking blow someone's head off, walking through my house when I heard a sound. You know? Yeah. I mean, I got a cat to protect, so I have done that, walking through my house like, where are you, motherfucker? And now, obviously, if someone's in your house and you shoot them, you got a much better chance. but he didn't whip open the door.
Yeah.
It's not like he looked through the peephole and didn't see anything. He didn't see anything, if you believe him. And then he kind of crept open the door, and then boom, and there they are.
It's a
I
tough
could
one.
see fucking reacting.
Yep.
I could totally see that at 4 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
Yeah, I think he's going to get it though. I think they're going to convict him, but I don't think he's going to get that many years.
like a lot to me.
Second degree carries any number of years up to life. So
they could literally give him time served. They
Yeah.
could give him a year.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's really tough. There were people in that courtroom because he was crying on the stand
Yep.
as he was talking about the story, and I believe him when he says, you know, I think about that girl a lot, and I'm devastated. You know, she had her whole life ahead of her.
yeah, he's not a premeditated killer.
He's not a murderer. Exactly. This is a really, really, really sad and unfortunate story.
Right.
But the fact is, he's in his house minding his own damn business when some absolutely a shit-faced drunk
ends up
on his porch
Yeah.
banging on shit. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a really scary, and I think you have to take into account, even though the court doesn't really want to, you have to take into account where he lives, which is kind of on the border of some shady areas where a lot of shit has gone down, where he talks about waking up on, especially on the weekends, and there's drug paraphernalia, there's shell casings on his lawn and stuff. This isn't West Bloomfield. So I think if you take all that into account, and I don't know,
Apparently
man.
there's some contrast though, the way he described things on the stand versus how he described things to the cops after.
Yeah.
Like they played a long video
They did.
of him, talking to the cops, and they on cross-examination noted how kind of calm he was, and as he's just sipping
Drinking.
from coffee or something, you know, and didn't look as distraught as he should be or whatever, you know. But that's up to the jury, you know. We can't see that, we're not there, and those
Right.
are the little nuances that probably turn the case, you know.
Yeah, that's interesting. That footage you mentioned, which was I think like a 45 minutes to an hour-long video that they played in the court there. Police, I guess, were initially and repeatedly asking him, kind of insinuating that he knew her, like she was a prostitute. Yeah, asking if the shooting was connected to prostitution, and he tells him he doesn't entertain prostitutes, and that he did not know McBride, adding he thought she was a neighbor's kid. He said the shooting was self-defense. As far as I'm concerned, I should have called you guys first. I wasn't getting any younger. He testified that's why he purchased the gun, because he couldn't afford whatever. But yeah, it sounds like their initial line of questioning was this a prostitute who you had some falling out with? Which I don't think was the case at all.
No.
Now, there are people that were in that courtroom, spectators, who were saying this was bullshit, this was an act, him crying on the stand, which is really hard to do. If you're not a trained actor, it's not easy to get on a court stand and show real emotion. You know what I mean?
But wouldn't people say that about anyone? You'd always wonder, like, is he, he's, that's bullshit.
Well, those
isn't
whole
it?
alligator tears they
Yeah.
talk about, crocodile tears, it's hard to fake that. And it's hard to produce real tears. So if he's doing that, I don't know what I did, but there's no tears coming out.
If you can stir the emotion of, wow, is my life fucked, and
Yeah.
I'm really sad about it, I think that's where you go, right?
That's true. That's true.
And
There's no doubt.
Yeah, I could see pulling that out of me. But
I can't imagine they would give him second degree.
well, here's a fact that I read today that was interesting. Remember we talked about how he said originally to the police, I didn't know the gun was loaded, it just went off.
Right.
Well, apparently in his testimony, cross-examination or direct, or it was on cross-examination, he said, I did know the gun was loaded. I forgot about it.
Yeah. And I had brought that up to you before, like, can't in the heat of the moment you say something to a cop and then rethink it and go, wait a minute, no, I knew. And you said, yeah, you got to sell that to a fucking jury
Yeah, yeah.
because it contradicts what you said the first time,
Yeah.
which is a problem, but it's not insurmountable.
Yeah. All these little nuances are what's going to turn this.
Totally.
And it's these 14 people staring at him and watching every movement and
Yeah.
making judgments. It's going to be tough.
So what do they need to prosecute then? Do they need a unanimous?
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah. And so it could be hung, you know, it could be that a couple people are just like, no way, flat out.
Yeah.
I get why he reacted like
Yeah,
that. I think
I would
that's
have done the
reasonable.
same
Yeah.
thing.
And if they hold out, then there's nothing. It's hung.
And then do you fall into double jeopardy there, where
No,
you can't try him again?
You can retry.
Really? And then they got to decide.
Mm-hmm.
Which opinion would they?
Probably. I don't know. It wasn't that long of a trial, you know.
When they do a retrial, because they can redo.
Yeah.
And almost get a second chance.
Why?
If he was unanimous jury found.
Because I know how long do they have till they decide that it's going to be unanimous.
Oh, they can go on and on and on, and if
the judge will make them go back in the room.
if they come in the first day and go, Judge, we're just hung, we can't get anywhere, she'll go, get back in there.
Yeah.
But if you're saying that 4 days down the line,
Okay.
Yeah.
the judge is probably going to go. You're throw them in the room and say, you've got to come out of here today with unanimity.
Right.
Unanimity.
But there's not
unanimity.
But there's not an actual time frame. It could.
No.
Okay.
It's the judge's discretion,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And he would base that on the jury foreman's recommendation, like, hey, we're not even close.
Right.
These guys are absolutely not moving on this. And the judge at that point would go,
Yeah.
fuck, okay, we've wasted all this time and money. And then
they want to avoid a mistrial, obviously, so they want to
Yeah.
put them back in and have them really work. And
Mhm.
and you know, they'll say everything like that. Look, we know this is a hard job. You know, this is really difficult. We get that. But
Yeah.
please go back in there and try to come to a
Mhm.
unanimous verdict.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting, and as you say, it hasn't taken that long. A week, 2 weeks, couple weeks.
A week and a half, something like that.
So and as we mentioned right out of the gate, it's wrapping up now. So we should know. I don't know if by Friday, but
Yeah, I would think.
really,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because on Wednesday, the jury will have the case.
The-
So you'd think by Friday.
Yeah.
If not, maybe they'll do one of those. Let's sleep on
Weekend.
it and come back on Monday.
hmm The one thing I'm glad about with this case is it didn't go down the road of race like it looked like it was going to.
Well, if you read the comments underneath every story, it did. But
Well, yeah, but as far as like
You're right.
the attorneys go,
Right.
they didn't go down the because all we heard in the beginning was white guy, black girl,
Yeah.
Trayvon Martin all over again.
Right.
And that was like, come on, man, really? Do you think he wouldn't have pulled the trigger if it was a white girl on his porch?
Right.
I don't believe that.
I don't either.
It is what it is. It's a terrible story. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out, though. That's for sure. Why don't we talk about? We haven't mentioned yet the Ebola stuff, and also this American general that was killed in this shooting in Afghanistan today. The
Man.
fuck, man! Have you heard about these green on blue attacks? It's kind of the catchphrase of the day.
I've not heard that term.
Yeah. And they're all saying, the talking heads are all saying green on blue, like they know what it is. But it's basically when the army that you're training, the military that you're trying to teach in Afghanistan turns and opens fire or attacks the guys that are helping them. They call them green on blue or blue on green.
Do you know why?
Green on blue, probably because of the uniforms.
Okay.
Green on blue, it's called. Green on blue attacks.
Okay.
Well, anyway, this American general was killed, yesterday from the purposes of this show.
Highest ranking officer killed in the Afghan conflict, right?
Well, maybe.
Okay.
But yeah, probably, but they hadn't said yet. And the reason I say that is because of the press conference that I watched. It was really annoying. And these things always are, where you get one of these guys, whether it's a spokesperson, someone at the Pentagon, who's talking to the media and is trying to inform them, but is stuck saying over and over, I'm not going to discuss that. I can't talk about that. I don't have answers for that. But they keep fucking asking the same questions over and over as if he's going to go, oh, yeah, duh, and blurt something out to him. These fucking morons. So, but that was one of the questions that came up. Oh, this is the highest ranking, blah, blah, blah. Because I think there was someone in the White House, or in 9/11 that was killed that was a 2-3-star general too. So either way, he's a no bullshit big time dude. 15 other soldiers were wounded in this attack in Afghanistan, where Afghan military officers were being trained when a gunman wearing an Afghan army uniform turned a weapon against Americans and other Afghans. The U.S. officials have described the victim as a 2-star general, highest ranking. Yeah, about half of the 15 wounded are believed to be Americans.
Mm.
The military's in the process of notifying next of kin, which is why they're not at liberty to say. They've got to talk to the family first. It was believed to be a lone shooter. They don't know if he was someone, because they've got this is the other term you're going to hear a lot of, vetted process that they put where they take these guys, and before they're in front of high-ranking U.S. generals, they vet these guys to make sure they're not former Taliban, that they're not on the fence mentally and capable of that. And apparently this guy went through this process. So it's fucking amazing, man, thinking about that, turning a weapon in a room like that. But like I said, I was, and we've done this before. I've done this a couple times before with these press conferences. This one took place at the Pentagon this morning, where they were, trying to explain the story, but not at liberty to say much. And so I immediately think, like, God, how would I react on the stand if I'm at the podium? It would be impossible for me to go, oh, sorry, Bill. Again, I can't talk about that. I would be a little more colorful with my language. So, Timko, do you have that ready to go? Maybe we can listen to my how the press conference would go if I was doing it.
Fine. Hang on. Sorry.
It's all right.
I want to take us to the Pentagon right away because we're getting a briefing from Rear Admiral John Kirby.
That's me. Was an Afghan military personnel shooter, was the shooter. Again, it was a shooting in Afghanistan today, Kabul City specifically. What we believe was an Afghan soldier. There are, in fact, a number of casualties, including Americans, even a high-ranking general. At this point, our investigation has just gotten underway. And given that the family notification process is not yet complete, I cannot and will not give any details about the general at this time. We need to let the investigation process run its course. And with that, I'll take your question. Yeah, Bob?
Admiral, you say that the assailant was believed to be an Afghan soldier. Can you elaborate at all? Was he a known member of the Army? Or was he was in uniform and was using a
spit it out
issued firearm? Or?
Yeah, Bob, as I said, the investigation is just getting started. But we do believe it was an Afghan soldier, and that's strictly based on his shit ragtag uniform. You can spot those SOBs a mile away.
Was there some sort of a large gathering? Was it an instructional situation, or was it a...
Hell, Bob, I don't know. It was a routine site visit. That's all I know at this time. Yeah, Jim?
Thank you, Admiral Kirby. I'm told that this was a vetted soldier who'd gone through what is a very serious vetting process for Afghan troops, particularly at a facility like this. Does this, in your view, identify weaknesses in the vetting process? And I also wondered, as bigger picture, we're months away from from the U.S. handing over security responsibility for Afghanistan to Afghan forces like these. Does this undermine your confidence in their ability to take over that role?
No, good questions, Jim. On the first point, it's just too soon to say at this time. On your second question, Jim, as far as the confidence in the Afghan military's ability to handle this mess when we bolt from this litter box, my opinion is unchanged. I mean, these guys don't even have matching uniforms. So am I confident that they can handle these militant cocksuckers when we're gone? Shit, no. But we'll keep hand-holding until it's time to say adios. And then, fingers crossed, shit really starts. Go ahead, Jim.
And if I may, can you give us any details about the incident itself? Was it indoors? Were they meeting? Were they out reviewing troops?
Right.
Do you have any further details about exactly how this went down?
Yeah, well, as I said to start this thing, and as I said to Bob a second ago, as far as I know, it was just a routine site visit. Some shit went down. We killed the motherfucker, but we lost one of our good generals. But the investigation, it's just in its infancy right now, and I don't have those details at this time.
He was using?
Fuck, no, I don't. But does it matter if it's a pea shooter or Luke's lightsaber? I mean, who cares? Who gives a shit? He's dead.
Was the shooter killed by American troops or Afghan troops? Do you have any idea?
No fucking clue, man. But what does it matter? He's dead as shit, and that's all I know. Yeah. Princess, go ahead.
To put the death of the American general officer in context, is this the highest ranking death of an American soldier in Afghanistan since the beginning of the war or since a certain period? Can you help us contextualize it?
Jesus, doll, what are you, Alex Trebek? How the fuck would I know? Seriously, this shit's been going on since 9/11. Yeah, he's a high-ranking general. Highest ever? Fuck if I know, maybe.
Can we try to get clarification of that later?
You're the reporter, sweetheart. If you want to know so bad, do your research. Yeah, Phil?
Admiral, does this incident mean that this department and Washington generally need to look at the way forward in Afghanistan in terms of the drawdown and change the makeup of the troops that are going to be sent there for more force protection or to continue to, guard against these insider attacks?
Yeah, Phil, how many times can I say it?
The investigation is just underway.
Can you not hear today? Quit breaking my balls for information I can't give you. And I'm not going to speculate on such details at this time anyways. What I can give you, though, Phil, is some fashion advice. The mustard yellow shirt is distractingly awful. Seriously. You're in the Pentagon, for Christ's sake. Act like it.
Are any of the general officers in the region receiving extra security or their movements being restricted because of this?
How the fuck would I know? I'm here in the Pentagon with you assholes. I have no idea. Yeah, you, sweet tits.
Was he the highest ranking officer in the room, and do you have any reason to believe that he started it?
What do you think, I was born yesterday and I'll fall for a dumb shit question like that? Come on, sweetheart. You're presuming that this took place in a room, and I never said that. Nor would I speculate on shit they haven't even told me yet. Sorry, I was staring at your tits. What was the second thing you asked?
Targeted perhaps, or was it random?
Yeah, again, that's getting into an area I'm just not going to address right now. Yeah, Tony, you're up.
Zalmay Khalilzad today in an op-ed in the Washington Post said that the United States is directly now supporting the Kurds with supporting airstrikes from Iraq against ISIL in support of the Kurds, and also helping the Kurds with military assistance, including munitions.
Right.
Do you have any insight into that?
Yeah, Tone. All I can say right now is yes, the natives are restless, and this is a giant fucking mess we're dealing with. But as far as
I just want to reiterate some of the key points as the Admiral moves on to a different topic.
Yeah, I was cut off in my press conference, but anyway, that's how it would go if I was in charge of it.
If you were a rear admiral?
If I was a rear admiral? I don't want to be a rear admiral. That's hard to say, rear admiral.
Rear admiral.
Rear admiral. Anyway, so yeah, we lost a good one, but I know he said ISIL. I caught that. 70 lashes, man. He better stay out of Afghanistan. They're going to whip his ass good. Did you see the other American landed here that with Ebola?
Perfect.
Nice, huh?
Yeah.
Right ball, Nancy Right ball. Yeah, she's here, and we're learning more about this experimental drug that they gave them.
Dr. Roche was talking about it yesterday.
Yeah, but did he know the name of it? Did he say it?
No, he didn't. He didn't, but he was like kind of talking about the stem cells and all that. He's like, that kind of plays into what they gave him, and
really,
it seemed like he knew what was going on.
Wow, I totally
Roche
that went over
insider.
me. Yeah, I guess it's called ZMapp is the name of it. It's San Diego company, and it's never gone through a human trial. Never gone through a human trial. They've tried this thing on monkeys, and I guess what they do is give you this serum that's partially made up of stem cells, exposure to the Ebola.
What's the
ZMapp?
I'm going to call my stockbroker here.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Actually, that's not the name of the company.
It's MAP, and the drug is ZMapp. It's MAPP.
Right, MAP Biopharmaceutical.
Yeah.
MAP Biopharmaceutical.
Inc. in San Diego.
You're
going to make $1 billion on MAP.
It's too late. I'm sure everybody's jumped on it.
Yeah. ZMapp, made by MAP Biopharmaceutical.
It's overpriced as we...
Made from antibodies produced by lab animals exposed to parts of the virus. That's crazy. I mean, which is basically what the flu shot is, just giving you exposure to the dead virus.
Yeah.
And I guess it didn't work the first time on Nancy Right Ball. She didn't have a great reaction to it, but they gave it to her again, and she was ordering soup, her favorite soup, like this potato soup from Lebanon or some shit. So she's eating better and whatnot, and
that's a random fact.
I know, isn't
she's
that weird?
ordering potato soup from Lebanon,
or the region, or something like that. Favorite dish, Liberian potato soup and coffee.
God, you'd think you'd hate everything Liberian after contracting Ebola.
Ebola, yeah, no kidding. Yeah. And
so
then
remember we talked though yesterday about the guy who was in Manhattan, who was suspected of having it. It looks like he might not.
I know, and it pisses me off. If you listen back to that broadcast, when you brought that up, I started to say he could have malaria, though. It's the same symptoms, and I didn't finish that.
Straight out of Stockton.
I swear to God, I swear on my life, the first thought in my head was, yeah, but it could just be malaria, which has the mirror symptoms.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Shut up, Eric.
Eric knows that.
Sure does. But That's more like believable. His Straight Outta Stockton was a great joke by you. That his bullshit.
Okay.
No way. Put you in the isolation booth, mister. But it does sound like they're the one in Nigeria that GLJ's competing with might be real. Yeah. It's not looking good, dude. They talk about federal agents at U.S. airports are watching travelers from Africa.
I know, I love this. They're watching for people who look like they might have fever or diarrhea.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Like are we supposed to read that and go, oh, thank God, they're on the front line.
Good.
Anybody with diarrhea is never going to get past them.
And I'm sure we recommended that the African countries do the same.
We have.
Yeah.
We have.
Well, that's going well, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Well organized. And
if anything we know about diarrhea, people are really open about when they have it too, right? You're like, I could just see walking up to a cop going, by the way, I had diarrhea for the last 24 hours at least. Is there anything I should do or anything I need to know about? Well, thank God. Let's get you in an isolation booth for the next 3 weeks. Like, who's going to volunteer for that?
Yeah.
Nobody. And these assholes aren't going to spot it. Stop it. This seems like a fluff piece meant to, like, make us think they're on top of this.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Shut the border! We're fresh out of USA. I'm sorry. We'll let you know when we've got a full stock. Back to Liberia for you, my friend. Agents in Washington's Dulles International and JFK airports in particular have been told to ask travelers about possible exposure to the virus and to be on the lookout for anyone with fever. Headache. You look like you got a headache. Come here, sir. Can I ask you something? Any chance you got a fever or a headache or gastrointestinal problems? Sore throat, achiness. I'm on the lookout for anyone with achiness. How fucking dumb does that sound? Come on. Sore throat, diarrhea, vomiting, stomach pain, rash, or red eyes. So any stoner coming through is going to be stopped and get over here, you. Isolation booth. They'll receive several African heads of state at Maryland. They've got that big conference going on in D.C. and everything. So they're screening passengers too. While Secret Service agents in charge of security for the 3-day summit have been briefed on what to look for and how to respond. How do you look for achiness? How do you spot achiness and headaches?
Absolute dumb luck if they find anybody.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's what I think too. If a passenger is suspected of carrying the deadly virus, they would be quarantined immediately and evaluated by medical personnel from the CDC. Provided with additional training, or the CDC has provided additional training to local airports. A man who recently visited West Africa had a high fever and the diarrhea, was placed in isolation at a hospital on Monday, being tested for possible Ebola, but it doesn't sound like he has it. That's the one you were talking about. While the CDC says it is not screening passengers boarding planes at African airports, that's good to know. Glad you're not screening passengers boarding.
No reason to.
No, the job of local authorities there. That's their job.
Yeah.
So we're not going to get involved with that.
They've got that.
Yeah. Exactly. That was right. That's what they're saying.
Because what are third world countries best at? Being organized.
Right. And being on top of things, especially when it's. I mean, it's not like it's running rampant in three major areas over there. So they got this. They got it. The job of local authorities there. The center said it has encouraged vulnerable countries to follow certain precautions.
Oh, they've encouraged them.
I'm sold. Good enough for me. Going on when we talked about maybe not being uber focused on the 300 lost girls and whatnot, but clearly, I mean, according to the CDC, they've had some phone calls, perhaps sent a text here and there, and they feel like, hey, they got to get there. We'll watch our end, and hopefully no one sneaks past that isn't in that 21-day period where they're not showing signs yet.
They've encouraged them.
Yeah, they've encouraged them. Yeah, they have. So
strongly encouraged them to.
I feel I've never been more comfortable, personally. Why don't we take a quick break, and then we can come back and we'll talk about the Lions a little bit, the Spurs, and their new move, and a few other things. We'll do it next on the Detroit Cast.
The Detroit Cast continues after this short break. Detroit Cast continues now, bitches. Here's Mike and Jay.
Call me sir, God damn it!
All right, welcome back to the Wednesday edition of the Detroit Cast. Mike and Jay here, and a few things left to get to, including another 12-year-old killer. We should touch on the Lions. We haven't spent much time talking about the Detroit Lions. I'm excited for another NFL season. I really am. Hopefully. Crazy to think maybe this could be the team.
No, it's not.
I know it's not.
Shut up, Jay!
And the Spurs, the champions, they're making some moves today. Going to keep them at the top. I think they've made just the move to do that. But why don't we start back in your world, Jay, with the courtroom. And Jodi Arias. Does everyone remember Jodi Arias?
The Jodi Show.
The Jodi Show, yeah. The girl that killed her boyfriend, shot him in the head, slit his throat, stabbed him 30 times. She's looking at the death penalty.
Yeah.
She was kind of cute, though. And she was a media whore. She's in jail doing like jailhouse singing competitions, Jailhouse Idol or something. I think she won. I swear to God. There she is, nude. Kind of a skank. Ended up murdering this guy who was kind of living a double life himself. I think he was a Mormon who was supposed to be a virgin and whatnot, and was fucking this chick and all kinds of stuff like that. But anyway, she has decided to represent herself in her death penalty trial.
What?
Which I know as an attorney, Jay, you'd probably love that move.
It's a bit unorthodox.
A bit. I guess she's been like at odds with her defense team from day one. Tried to fire them. They've tried to quit, and the judge is like, no. You get back in there with that piece of shit. Make it work.
See it through. We're not giving her new counsel and starting this over.
Is that why they do that?
Yeah.
It's because they don't want to start over again. How frustrating is that for an attorney who cannot control their client?
I've never been in that situation where I've wanted out that bad that I'm pleading with the judge to let me out. But it's tough, man.
Yeah.
It is tough when you have just fundamental disagreements on strategy and stuff. And
it sounds like you've got someone in Jodi Arias who is a terrible witness.
Mhm.
She didn't do herself any justice on the stand. One of those that demands to be on the stand, thinks she's smarter than
complete
everybody.
narcissist, right?
Total narcissist, major ego, and thinks she's going to just wow everybody. She's the cute girl. Everybody loves the cute girl, right? Well, she made a fool of herself on the stand, and nobody bought it. And it went against everything her defense team wanted to do. But she's the client, even though she's up for murder charges. So, but reading these stories, experts are saying that this move is not a very bad idea for her to represent herself. Believe it or not, that this crime is so bad and so vicious that she could actually find herself in a position where she's such a sad sack piece of shit. Testimony that there are jurors that feel sorry for her, and becomes human almost in a weird way, that they don't want to put her to death.
She just needs one, right?
Right.
It has to be a unanimous deal.
This is a murder trial. How, like, is she's not a lawyer. She's gonna get up there and start like.
Dude, not only is she not a lawyer, she's not a fucking college grad. She's not a high school grad. She got her GED in jail.
Oh.
She's a narcissist.
So
That's
Jay,
all you need.
But
I know.
You need to just get up there and have some confidence.
Your Honor, and like she doesn't.
Hey man, she was went through like a 6-month trial. She's probably a better lawyer than a lot of guys out there.
I'm just saying that this would be fun to watch to me. Like I'd like to watch her.
I remember watching one time years ago. It was a guy who, it was a subway shooting case, and I remember seeing
like New York subway.
Yeah, it was the first time I'd ever seen this concept of a guy representing himself, and it was on video, and they were showing it at Court TV or whatever years ago. And I remember he's examining a witness, and he's going, well, tell me what happened then. And she's like, you shot me. Then you turned around, looked me in the face, and you shot me.
Oh.
He's like, well,
misleading, Your Honor.
Leading the witness. That's hilarious.
I know.
What did he do? Like, what did he?
He just tried to change the subject.
Oh my God, that's awesome. I'm gonna guess.
I could have that video now.
I'm gonna guess it didn't go very well in the end for him.
No, it usually doesn't.
Well, she was found guilty of first-degree murder. She even admitted to it, said it was self-defense. stabbing him 30 times, slitting his throat, and shoot him, putting a bullet between his eyes. Self-defense. Okay. And then staging the body in the shower. Whatever. Okay. It's probably a good idea for her to represent herself, says this San Francisco-based defense attorney. She looks like a vicious psychopath with a ridiculous defense. They may find her pathetic if she can get just one juror, as you say, to bond with her on some level. Even if they hate her, they're getting to know her, and it's harder to kill someone you know.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Arias will have the task of arguing a death penalty case just 4 weeks from now, despite having no legal experience, no college degree or high school diploma. Her defense lawyers will remain on as advisory counsel. Good luck with that, guys. She's long clashed, as I said, with the with her team. The feud only intensified after she gave a series of media interviews. That's usually what happens in these cases. When you can't control your client, they want to do media because they think they're smarter than everybody. If I can just get out and tell my side of the story to extra TV, it'll be great. And they go out there, and you're sitting there as an attorney going, "You fucking moron!
Yeah.
I can't believe you just did that." But you can't control them. So that's what they've run into. They wanted to shut the fuck up, let us do our job, and she's going out there, blah, 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 thinking she's smarter than everybody and getting in trouble. So they've tried to withdraw several times. The judges rebuffed their requests. Let's see here. She told jurors in her murder trial of an abusive childhood, cheating boyfriends, dead-end jobs, her sexual relationship with this boyfriend, and her contention that he had grown physically violent. They thought she was a liar, she was a narcissist, she was arrogant. It made it easy to convict her. But that's a lot different than killing somebody. I think generally that anybody that represents themselves has a fool for a client, but it also gives her a way, if she's out there making a fool of herself, to maybe invoke some sympathy from a juror. This time around, the trial will not be broadcast. So they're not going to let any video of this out. They will videotape it. None of it will be allowed out until they're done with the trial and the juries have spoken. So
I'm going to watch this.
If the new jury fails to reach a unanimous decision during the second penalty phase set for September 8th, the death penalty will be removed from consideration. The judge would then sentence Arias to spend her life behind bars or be eligible for release after 25 years. So, I don't know. Any opinion there? Do you think she's... have you ever... I've never heard of anybody say, yeah, good idea to represent yourself in a death penalty case. I've never heard that said before, but multiple experts are saying this. So, have you ever heard that?
No. I can't think of a time where I've seen that.
Yeah. One person we know won't get put to death is this 12-year-old murderer, because I think isn't that the rule? Children and alleged murder, right? Sorry, that children and mentally challenged people aren't capable or aren't eligible for the death penalty.
Well, there's no death penalty in Michigan, so that's...
Oh, this isn't Kentwood.
This is in Michigan.
Okay, this is west side of the state. Yep. A 9-year-old boy is dead after being stabbed by another boy Monday night. Michael Connor Verkerke died from his injuries after being stabbed while on the playground. What? Nice. Is that a parent's worst nightmare? Can you imagine a worse nightmare than your kids on the playground get stabbed to death by another child? Holy shit.
These are basically the ages of my boys, you know?
Yeah,
right. They were over here the other day. Picture the older one stabbing the younger one.
Yeah, I'd rather not picture that.
I mean...
Good Lord. Police said 4 kids were playing when one of the kids pulled out a knife and repeatedly stabbed this kid. He was able to run back to his porch. EMS took him to the hospital where he died. 12-year-old boy left the playground, went to a nearby residence, and asked to use the phone. He called police, turned himself in for the incident. They took the boy to the hospital for evaluation. He's now in a juvie center. Witness Glenn Stacy said he was approached by the 12-year-old afterward. The boy asked to use his phone. I was getting my ladder, and this young man came and asked me if he could use my phone. I gave him my phone. I heard him tell the 911 operator, I just stabbed someone. Come and get me. I want to die.
Jeez.
Wow.
A troubled young man.
You think? Are you sure?
And here's
Allegedly?
the deal. Here's the deal, man. You know, what went into this kid's background that would contribute to that. And it's not excusing his action. He did it. And at 12, you definitely know that's wrong. But here we always talk about these freaky circumstances, and we go, oh, okay, well, there's probably some guy raping him. There's all sorts of things that could have, made this kid's life hell and turned it.
Well, the thought of a 12-year-old saying, come get me, like even I always go back to my childhood. I wouldn't have even known how to call the cops at 12 years old, let alone say, come and get me, and I want to die. Like, those are thoughts that are not in a normal 12-year-old's head. They're just not. I mean, your kids are at 12 are focused on video games and playing sports.
Yeah.
And
No, that's what I mean. The assumption has to be that there's, a whole lot of garbage that went into his life before that.
And the fact is, if you're on the playground playing with other kids and then you stab someone to death, that means you showed up to the playground with a knife and the intent to do great bodily harm to someone, probably, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it sounds like, allegedly.
Mhm.
Obviously, if this is true, but God, man. Oh, scary.
That shit didn't happen years ago.
It didn't. No, I don't ever remember a story like that. There was always, it seemed like there was always in our childhood some story of a random girl who got gangbanged. There was a story of a kid who got murdered allegedly. There was like an old ghost
Sort of a
story.
myth,
yeah. Like, oh, in these woods they found a body of so and so. Like, we all remember those stories, but you don't have these like instances where, oh yeah, over there a 12-year-old murdered a 9-year-old.
Mhm.
That just didn't happen. It just didn't. It's disturbing. It's
Do you think
weird.
the Slender Man had anything to do with it?
I don't know. Are those really his parents? The kid that did the killing?
Yep.
You think so?
There's 2 numbers listed that said that in that area, so
Mm.
I don't know if you want to try it.
I don't know. I mean, it's not like they could talk to us at all, but counselor? Counselor?
Just doing my job.
Appreciate that, Timko.
Yeah, what's the angle?
I know. So, how's your kid doing?
So you raised a murder,
Is Timmy there?
allegedly.
Did you rape him?
Yeah.
What was going on in the house? Why did he have a knife at the playground? Yeah. Did he know this kid? Why did he stab him? Yeah, we should probably let that one lie there. I'd rather call the guy beaten off than parents of a murderer, alleged murderer. If you can find a number for this girl, I'd love to talk to her, though.
I was going to say, if we get down a few more stories, there's probably someone beaten off that we could call.
Okay. By the way, before we started, I called Gorsica to talk about Evan Reed,
Yeah,
the
the
Tigers
Tigers
pitcher.
pitcher.
He texted me back and said he's out of town right now next week.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, we'll get Dave Gorsica on next week to talk about what's going on with the Tigers pitcher, who, by the way, has made comments that like he would be with the Tigers if it wasn't for this case. Like, this is holding back his career. That's the only reason he's down in Toledo.
Hmm.
Which I don't know if that's true
He
or not.
said that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely.
Doesn't have a very good ERA from what I remember. I'm just saying.
Well, it could be mentally because of all the
Okay.
shit he's going through. I don't know. I don't know what he meant by that. I don't know if Dombrowski's holding him back or if it's like a mental game he's playing with himself.
It might be his 4.89 ERA, but I don't know.
How's he doing in Toledo? The Mudhead's kicking ass right now?
Don't know. Eric?
How's he doing? I don't know how he's
Busy on Facebook. Maybe tomorrow.
Bird
we
flew
can
by,
comment on
Jay.
it.
He's gone.
How dare you, dude? Like, I was listening.
How dare you? He's fucking on Facebook. How dare you? How dare you?
How dare you know the truth, Jay?
I was listening to the conversation. You're talking about.
I'll get you for this, counselor.
I know exactly what was going on in the
Doctor!
conversation. You're talking about the so like allegedly with sexual assault and whether he's down in Toledo.
He's
and
just
how
a spectator. You know, it never occurs to him like they're reaching for something here. I could help. I could help in this way.
Nope.
I have a Google machine in front of me.
No, you're right. You're right. You're right.
He
no.
thinks of himself as in the car listening to the radio,
Yeah.
just going,
Yeah.
I agree with everything they're saying.
No, that's
He doesn't
not-
even realize he's sitting right next to us.
You're right. You're right, Jay. I'm sorry. I'll get better.
You confess to a murder you didn't do. You would so confess to a murder you didn't do.
I know.
You would be the easiest guy to take down in a like.
I
If you
know.
want to just pin something on Eric, you could so do it. I want to try it.
Yeah.
Next murder we see, let me know, and we'll see if we can can't put Eric in the vicinity.
Calling people up.
Eric Fady. That's all you need to know. Eric Fady. Click. Guys, I can't make it to the show today. The cops want to talk to me for some reason. I don't know.
I could have witnesses, multiple witnesses that could confirm them that I was at somewhere else, and I'll be gone this weekend, and you could say that it happened in the Detroit area, and I'd probably still confess to it.
Yeah, you would. You would with your family, with all of us, whatever. Nah, doesn't matter.
Right.
Just confess to it. I did it. I feel terrible. I need to be punished for my crimes against humanity.
I throw myself on the mercy of the court, Your Honor.
No, it'd just be I did it or whatever. It'd just be loaded with or whatever.
Whatever.
And something.
The San Antonio Spurs, I mentioned them a couple times. They've it's amazing what they've built in San Antonio
Yeah.
with this team. It seems like it's been generations long.
Well, think back to 2004, the Pistons championship year, right? Was it the year before
04,
that or
06? 05?
Okay, then it was 04 where they could have beat the Spurs,
No,
right?
05 is the year that they could have beat the Spurs. 04 we won it.
Yes.
05 we played them. with the
See, I was
Spurs.
right at the beginning. You guys all fucked
sorry.
me up.
I didn't
Right.
fuck anyone up. I
And,
said
and so
exactly
we're
right.
we're one Robert Ory shot away from
Oh,
basically winning another title.
Yeah.
And that's essentially the same core team.
Parker,
Yeah.
Ginobili,
Duncan.
people asked.
Pop
I remember
Pockets.
people saying if they were too old then.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were.
saying
You're right.
In 05, they're like, oh, this is an old team.
That was 10 years ago. They were an old team. And they're still winning titles now. They took down the Miami Heat.
Dude, they almost did it back to back. I know almost in sports, and I get it, but 15 seconds away last year. They had
You're right.
freaking roped off the court
Yeah.
so the fans could not get on when they bring the press out. That's how close it was.
Mhm.
That's how close it was.
Yep, champagne in the locker room. Yeah, it's amazing, but they definitely are one of those teams that to be taken seriously, and they want to stay on top. And I think they've just added the piece to do it. NBA fans are going to be disappointed to know that they've hired Becky Hammond, the NBA's first paid female assistant coach. That's right, the San Antonio Spurs, and she's kind of cute.
I know. She's kind of good. Like,
She's probably about my height. She's probably 5'9", 5'10", standing next to Duncan there.
I don't know, man. She looks like she's about your height and weight.
5'6". 5'6".
That's not good. She's 5'6"?
5'6".
Okay, so
Oh,
she's short.
She's better looking than I thought she'd be, just given her stats in the NBA.
Were you thinking Were you thinking or
maybe?
Die.
there are a lot of questionable looking ladies in the WNBA. if you ever
Perhaps. She looks cute, though.
watch. She does.
She looks like she could be with Duncan.
Mm-hmm.
In a nice interracial...
yeah.
Oh my, yeah, look at some of
Soiree.
these pictures. I mean, you look at her outside her uniform even. Like, look at outside her uniform.
Would you?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
She's going to teach Tony Parker how to do his thing, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, where's she going to get on the court and teach him how to take a charge?
I don't
You guys,
know.
you need to box out down here.
Well, they made history this yesterday, where they announced the hiring of Becky Hammond. She played in the WNBA.
Oh.
Big difference. She played in the WNBA for 16 seasons after becoming a naturalized Russian citizen. Okay, she's Russian.
Dude, I didn't realize that WNBA has been around that long.
She became a naturalized Russian citizen.
In 2008. Played on Russia's team.
What's her name? Becky Hammond?
Yeah, Hammon.
It's kind of weird, huh?
Yeah. Why would they becoming a naturalized
Yeah,
Russian
what was she
citizen?
before?
Yeah.
Is she an American?
American?
Is she,
What
the
she
heck?
a deserter?
Yeah.
What does she know? Boba
double-
Doll's dad? What's
Double
going on
agent?
here?
What's going on?
Yeah, we need to know more about this girl. Stay on top of this. baby.
Astronom file.
Astronom file. She announced on July 23rd that she would retire as a player at the conclusion of the 2014 season. She's named one of the WNBA's top 15 players of all
That's
time.
where I heard of her.
Yeah, no, you haven't.
Yeah, no,
Sorry,
it's not
no, you've
right.
never heard of her. Unless she's put out a porn. I have no idea who this girl is. She ranks 7th in WNBA history in points, 5,800 points, 4th in assists, and 6th in games.
Where'd she go to college, E?
Shit.
I gotta get out of Facebook.
No, I'm looking at her pictures. I was Google imaging her pictures.
Her pictures.
Adding.
I got it. Colorado State.
Colorado State.
Yeah.
Let's see. Adding Hammond builds on the perception the Spurs aren't afraid of thinking outside the conventional ways of building an organization. The majority of their roster has come from outside the U.S., and they've been innovative in keeping the strength of the organization more about a focus and plan than stars playing for it.
What
they've
is
got
she gonna
stars
do?
too.
What is
I don't
she gonna
know.
bring? I mean, I swear to. I mean, I don't watch WNBA at all. It's boring, and I've never watched it. But okay, whatever. They're all right. But can she really offer something more than maybe an ex-basketball NBA player can offer? What is she gonna offer to a team that's won?
Title after
There are
title.
coaches who are non-former players. I mean, she has a very accomplished.
And there
playing
are some
background.
that are some of the best coaches were really lousy
Yeah,
players, whether
right.
football,
No, you're right.
baseball.
Sparky Anderson or Jim
is she
Leland
gonna
or
really
Yeah.
be able to-
shit.
Yep.
She really gonna be able to show, like you said, Parker or some of these guys?
Well, I would worry more about the players respecting her ability, even if she's a phenomenal coach. She could be a great coach.
Well, they'll all have to now in this PC world. None of them are going to be, even in practice, they'll have to make sure.
I mean, I would think it'd be hard for them to go, okay, really? You're going to bring this little 5'6" girl in here and I'm supposed to
She's probably got her work cut out, yeah.
She's going to be a ball buster, really? You're gonna sit down with Ginobili and Duncan and tell them what's up?
It's going to be tricky for her,
That'll
for sure.
be really tricky. Very tricky.
Probably be tricky for anybody to come into that locker room, let alone a little 5'6" chick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And tell them what's up as they're sitting there for the last 20 years dominating, or on the edge of dominating the league.
Dude, she has her own website, BeckyHammond25.com. You know any other assistant coach in the NBA probably has their own website?
No. What is going on at her website?
It's just pictures of her giving like basketball drills.
It's probably because she's an WNBA player.
Well, and she's coach, good looking enough that of course this was made before, obviously, but I think she definitely also plays off the role that she's probably one of the better looking ones that I've ever seen in the WNBA.
Well, there seems to be this push in these big sports leagues, which I have a problem with like there's no doubt that Michael Sam was taken because he's a gay guy. Right?
Right.
Not taken because he's of his amazing talent. He was a border player at best, but as you pointed out first, Jay, you can't cut him now. He's the first gay guy to be drafted into the league. He's got to make the team.
Mm-hmm.
Which means somebody else doesn't make the team. And this story here about Becky Hammon, no offense to her, but it sounds like, hey, we've made history today. It's about making history because I find it very hard to believe that there's a lot that someone like that could bring to the table of an actual NBA roster, a championship roster that's going to
defending champions.
I know.
I don't know.
It's not really a knock on her.
And now there's going to have to be. Now it's going to countdown's going to have to be when's the first female head coach in the WNBA.
Mm-hmm.
I have less trouble believing
in the NBA, not WNBA.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
I have less trouble believing that she could contribute to the team in a positive way than I do like a Michael Sam. Michael Sam was a reach as a player to put him on the field and contribute, but she's an accomplished player. She's got a long background in playing ball. Look, is she going to be able to get out there and show Tony Parker how to do a crossover? No, but there's a coach's mindset. She might be a smart coach.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, clearly they saw something in her.
Yeah.
You hope anyways. You would hope that the reach isn't so pathetic that it's, well, we'll be the first to hire a female on our actual coaching staff.
Yeah. Has she coached before, E? You said her website.
She's a player right now, retiring at the end of the season.
Yeah, she was
so
a
she
player.
couldn't have been at a college or anything. I don't know.
I was trying to see if she's won.
What team is she on? Is she on like the corresponding San Antonio team? You know how they do that? And that picture, actually, that might be her in her uniform.
Yeah, she is on the San Antonio.
Wow.
She went to the
look,
Liberty.
she's on like that.
Right.
So she's on the Chick Spurs team.
Yeah.
Right.
What are they called? This is going to be
San
choice.
The
Antonio
Spurettes.
Stars.
What is it?
The Stars.
San Antonio Stars.
The Stars.
Yeah.
She's been in the postseason several years.
So what?
1999 through 2011 straight in the postseason.
So she may have a history with the organization. In other words, the front office and stuff, not just as a player in WNBA, but if she's been there for years, maybe she's been groomed for this or.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just suspect of.
I am too, but I have less a problem with. I don't think it's so overt as the Michael Sam thing.
Mm-hmm.
Jay, she's also a six-time All-Star. Six-time All-Star in the WNBA.
No, there's no doubt. Her accomplishments on the field in a female game are there. She's got those. She's probably a Hall of Fame WNBA player, as dumb as that sounds. It's cute. It is. But the WNBA is not the NBA. Far, far from it. The WNBA would have done themselves a much bigger service if they would have just said, lower the fucking rims 1.5 feet because the players are 1.5 feet shorter. Instead of a layup being a big deal or once every 3 years some idiot can almost kind of dunk, sort of.
Yeah.
And whoa, the top 10 play of the day. Look at this chick sort of touch the rim and drop the ball in. Woo! Like, lower the fucking rim 1 foot. You're playing with midgets. Give us a smaller ball, and let's have some alley-oop dunks here and rub your vagina in some chick's face as you're hanging on the rim. Come on.
They just announced
Let's do this shit.
They really missed a good business opportunity.
Yeah, they should be playing in bikinis and rubbing vagines on each other. Hey, we got a scissoring breaking out over there on the east side of the court. Check it out over there. We got Becky Hammond going at it with Lisa Thompson over there. They're really going at it. I'm seeing some friction. I'm seeing smoke coming off those vagines. Look at them rubbing those vagines together.
I can't believe there actually is
I'd
a
watch
WNBA
that game.
Hall of Fame.
Who was it? Nancy Lieberman Klein?
Sure.
Wasn't she? Wasn't she the shot coach that it was alleged that she was having an affair with one of the players at the time?
Really?
Do you remember that?
I mean, do you really have an affair? Or just kind of like, it's cute. I mean, are they rubbing vagines?
Dude,
you guys don't remember this?
No, I don't.
I do kind of sort of remember this.
But there is a WNBA Hall of Fame.
Seriously?
How much do you think it costs to go though?
Did you get a free hot
Is it
dog?
like a donation?
$8 to get into the WNBA Hall of Fame for
Wow.
adults.
Can we send Eric to
Where
the
is it, New
WNBA
York?
Hall of Fame?
Let me see.
Can we please send Eric on a
I
road
was
trip
so
to the Hall of
going
Fame?
Get him a.
Dude, it's in Knoxville, Tennessee. That's not even that far. That's about a.
I mean, I want you in a jersey,
In a Liberty
shorts,
jersey.
Absolutely, like you are super fucking.
I'll go,
fan.
dude. I'll go in a
Paint your
second,
face and
dude.
shit.
Oh yeah, I would do it. They just
Like-
announced a big class for this year.
Was her name Lisa Lobo or something like that?
Yeah,
Remember?
yeah, good
Yeah.
call.
Dude, they announced.
Swim Cash, Swim
Yes,
Cash,
Swim
wasn't she a
Cash.
big one?
Hey, the Shocker won 2 championships. They
They
just
did.
announced.
Oh yeah, I know. You know how I know? Because they changed the Palace to 6 championship drive.
Joke. What a joke. How ridiculous.
Wait a minute, 6 championship
6,
drive? I don't
huh?
remember those. Oh yeah, the Shock got 2 of them. Oh, did they now?
Dude, the Vipers.
Full house? Did we have it? We have full house for the games?
Dude, the Vipers winning was more impressive than the Shock. to me, but
Absolutely.
they had they just had the women's 17th group of the inductees to the Hall of Fame. How could you've only been around like 17 years? They had a hall. You know, they inducted people in the first year.
Yeah. And that's the problem I have with the whole thing is that league has been operating and running purely and only because the NBA is funding it.
Right.
That it's not going on support from
No.
the fan base.
No.
It's none of it. It's driven by the fact of inclusion, and we need a female sport, and who cares if there's 4
Yep.
people in the stands?
Dude, I've asked my friends before the problem about this, like in the sense that it's not making money. It's losing money, but the NBA is funding it. But they can't get rid of it. Could you imagine that if they did? If the NBA just come out, yeah, we're not going to fund this thing anymore.
When did the Detroit team? Aren't they done?
They
Yeah, they folded.
They
maybe
folded
six
like
or 7 years
they
ago.
Like
moved to
after
Oklahoma.
a championship, though, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Something like that.
Yeah.
Like they won the title and then lost the team.
They moved to Oklahoma. Not that I know that much about the WNBA.
It's just funny. Could you imagine the Wings win the cup and
Yeah.
then move?
The
Bill
next
and Beer.
year.
It's just weird.
Bill and Beer was coaching. Remember that?
Yeah.
Coach Rick Mahorn.
Yeah, and it was wasn't it Karl Malone's daughter that was on the team?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
We know way more about the WNBA than I ever would have imagined.
Dude, I had a
Let's
friend.
start peeling it back. We really
Yeah.
did.
I had a friend's dad who had season tickets for a few years.
Good lord.
It was just he claimed that the reason was he just likes basketball, so for cheap prices he could be real up close and see close
So
basketball.
go to a college game.
The high school.
Yeah, go to a high school game.
I'd
Look like a
rather-
perv, but
I would
whatever.
rather go to my old high school basketball game than the freaking WNBA game.
Dude, I remember watching The Man Show when it was The Real Man Show. And
Right.
I love Stanhope and Rogan, but
No,
The Man
it was
Show,
better with
Kimmel and Carolla, they did a skit on there where those 2 out-of-shape slobs took on current UCLA female basketball players in a pickup 2-on-2 game and beat them.
Holy shit.
I mean, that tells you everything you need to know
Yeah.
about the sport and the game. Like Jimmy Kimmel and Adam Carolla, like D'ing them up and boxing them out and beat them. So, are you guys still? I know at some point we all do, but do you guys still text when you drive? Or?
Oh yeah, are you kidding me? I'm always texting and driving. I go on Facebook while I'm driving. I go on Tinder while I'm driving.
It's like, yes.
I know I shouldn't do it. I know someday I don't. And oh well.
Good luck at sentencing, dude. This is digital. This is
I mean, I don't
recorded.
do. Oh
You're
shit!
fucked.
I mean, I don't do it at
Life
all.
in prison.
I
No chance of parole.
Never done it.
Murder. Yeah.
Fucker. Listen, I will be so pissed if someone hurts my family doing that shit. I get
Yeah.
it. Mistakes happen, but that's not a mistake. That's fucking around. And I've done it before, and I'm trying my best not to. I think I told the story of my neighbor coming knocking on my door asking for a criminal defense attorney. Did I
Mhm.
tell you this?
Maybe
like
I think so.
It's probably maybe 6 months ago now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
just
can
like
tell it again, though.
yeah,
I don't
just
remember it.
ghost face. Like dude, I know you're a lawyer. Do you have any, connections to good criminal defense lawyers? I'm like, dude, what happened? And he told me this story about how he was going around a turn. It was wet. He's looking at his phone. By the time he looks up, he tries to brake. He skids and crashes into this dude. Dude ended up, I think, losing a leg.
Whoa.
Yeah, the victim.
So he was a pedestrian.
No, he was in a
a car?
an oncoming car.
Oh my God,
crashed
dude.
and he ended up losing a leg due to the collision. And my neighbor.
Did he know that at the time when he came over?
Yeah.
Or the accident had just happened?
No, this happened weeks prior,
Oh,
and they
okay.
had just decided to charge him.
Whoa.
Yeah, because they were kind of waiting to see what would happen with this guy. He did end up losing a leg and all this crap. So he was being charged with a felony of I forget what, but it was serious
Gross
shit.
negligence
Yeah,
of some
it was
sort.
awful shit. And here's just this dude,
Nice guy.
just everybody, just like any one of us,
Yeah.
and his life has changed in an instant. And I've thought a lot about that every time I go to grab it. And I told you, dude, I've got this habit of not texting but checking stuff, and I don't know why. Like, why do I
do the same thing.
I'm not going to respond, but for some reason I just check.
Yeah. What
Stupid.
is that? That
I don't
doesn't
know.
make any sense. We went our whole lives up to being like sort of adults without even having cell phones. Like, you left the house, you made a call, you left the house and went about your day. You never thought about it. Like, now you get that telltale brr, brr,
Yeah.
and you go, oh, I got a text. I don't care what you're doing. It's impossible to not go, oh, who texted me?
I know.
I don't care.
It's
Dude,
an
I'm doing
addiction.
85, 90 on the freeway, and it's like, oh, Jay texted. I
Yeah.
wonder what he's doing.
Yeah.
Oh. And the scary part is I was a very, very solid drunk driver. And I've spent many, many, many drunk days and nights behind the wheel, and I'd put my skills up against anybody. I felt safer. I felt like I'm paying attention because I know I'm fucked up right now. Dude, I text and it's like, oh, I'm in the middle of the fucking road right now.
Oh, yeah.
I'm off on the shoulder. Like, you would rather have me fucking drunk as shit on the road than texting Jay back. Just simple, yeah, I'll see you at 4.
So at least you have
Send.
your drunk eyes on the car in front of you, right?
Yeah. And it's scary. And the reason I bring it up, there's a story in USA Today, well, from yesterday's paper, about a reporter there, John Siniff, who was talking about just driving home from work one day, and all of a sudden, boom, he's just rear-ended by some chick who comes up. He never hears the tires squealing, nothing, because she never touched the brakes. Just doing, barreling down the road with 2,500 pounds of metal around her, slams into the back of him, admits, oh, yeah, I just got my license 2 months ago, and I was talking to my girlfriend. And so, he ends up going to the hospital. He was on his way home to pick up his kid. He's going to the hospital, getting some meds. He's on muscle relaxers and all this shit. He gets home, took some Valium, some muscle relaxers, and before setting into bed, the other driver has the audacity to text him with a request that I not go through her insurance company with the claim, because I intend to have a clean record. I intended to arrive home and pick up my son, but I couldn't. I ignored her request, he says. But he's got these stats here that basically say, confirming just how bad things have gotten, about 660,000 drivers in the U.S. are using handheld cell phones while driving at any moment during daylight hours. This number has held steady since 2010. More than half of drivers, 55%, admit to using a mobile phone at least sometime during the day while driving. Accidents as a result, 3,328 people died in such crashes in 2012, 421,000.
Dick, Eric, to be so flippant about this.
I know, you're right. You're right.
Honestly, you're sharing roads with me.
I know. And
You're
I'm
sharing roads with
I'm not gonna
our
stop.
fine listeners. And you asshole, oh, I don't give a shit, I'm going to do it.
Dude, I
Oh,
really
you're a
do feel like
fuckface,
I've
man.
got it down, though, because I got, like, the hand.
No, you are a
kinda-
dickhead.
You don't have anything down, man.
Jay, so now they're driving amongst us too.
Yeah,
They
this
are.
dude is
I know,
driving
by
amongst
the
us.
way, this is one of those times where there's like he is legitimately, obviously mad at me, but I mean, it is what it is, I guess.
No,
Well, God
I
forbid
know I
something
shouldn't. You're
happens,
right. I
Eric.
know
You're
I
a
shouldn't.
fuck.
You're right. I know I shouldn't be doing it. I know something will happen, but I'm gonna continue to do it. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, it's.
I know.
I personally know what it's like to fucking be all over the road. I'm not all over the road if I have 4 beers. Not that I ever do that either, but there's no doubt about it. There's no chance that you can be texting and driving responsibly. You just can't.
No,
you
you're
can't
right.
do it. Did Facebook, dude? Really?
Yes.
Facebook, Tinder?
Yes.
That's kind of hilarious, but sad too.
I have absolutely sat there and commented on, like, I made a status and then someone commented on it. I have absolutely like gone back and forth on my Facebook.
He's a fucking retard.
And Tinder for sure. Tinder.
Wow. I appreciate the honesty.
Tinder's
I do,
really
but-
easy, dude. You just sit there like this. I don't even. I could have my phone up in my eyes.
I'd fuck her.
And there's a ton of people listening right now who are going, yeah, I gotta admit, I do the same thing.
Yeah.
However, they're not going, well, I don't give a fuck though. You know what? Something will probably happen, and oh well.
Most of them feel guilty
I'm
about
not
it.
saying
Like
I
we
don't
do.
give a fuck. I'm just saying I don't know.
You're taking no steps to change. That's me. I'm a free spirit. That's what I do. I'm an old soul.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
So
Boys
mad.
will be boys.
Or whatever.
He is
Or whatever.
so legitimately mad.
I know he
at me.
is.
Like, really mad at me.
I don't know.
He's
man.
always mad at you. Don't worry about it.
It's all right.
No, it is scary because we do share the roads with other people. It's the and I usually don't give a fuck either. I usually don't give a fuck about political correctness or doing the right thing. I don't give a shit about those things. But there is no doubt I see it every day on the road.
Dude, it's about
some asshole in front of you on their phone and a light turns green and it's
it
like
has nothing to do with political,
I get so pissed when they do it. By the way, I'll be pissed if someone in front of me is doing it.
political correctness plays no role. I mean, we're talking about somebody who's screaming toward you in the lane next to you, and one little 5-foot deviation means a head-on collision.
Yep.
So I mean, let's take care of each other, people. Let's fucking drive.
Hey, mister, you're just as guilty as I
Dude,
am. You do the
I
same
will admit,
shit.
I
Phone
have this
checker?
weird addiction
You phone
to
checker?
check it. I will admit, but I'm trying my hardest not to.
Didn't you mention that Ford was trying to do something?
Yeah, I thought I read something like that. Like with Sync, there's some way that they can put a governor on at least phone usage, and it's being used with a lot of kids. Like
definitely not buying a Ford.
teen drivers, the parents will shut it or put it in a setting where they're not able to use their text function or
if they're
whatever.
driving or in a car.
If the car is if the ignition is on.
That's I don't know if that's kind of cool or if that's really invasive, but it's probably a
good move to give a parent, a good option.
I mean, I think we can all agree. Is there anything more terrifying than a 16-year-old on the road?
No.
And the thought of a 16-year-old with a phone in their hand?
Yeah.
That's just, you are going to lose. You're going to lose. Like, a 16-year-old is a shitty driver.
Mhm.
I was a great driver, by the way, but most of them are shitty fucking drivers. Anyway, do we have any email that we could...
Got a few emails. We have a couple responses that are worth noting concerning the Beth email.
Ooh, need to defend me. I don't know. I got thick
I respect
skin.
that, though.
Yeah. You kidding me? You're a girl. Stop it.
Mike being the man finding armor.
The man or the knight in shining
Night,
armor?
whatever. You know what I meant.
Well, Derek has the same sort of feeling. He says, I was so pissed off when you read that fucking dickless asshole's email. That's the kind of guy that buys a left-handed mouse so he can scroll and beat off at the same time. He's obviously jealous that Beth has already accomplished more than this slob ever will in his life.
Wow.
Beth is a delight to listen to, and normal people would find it interesting to hear about the cool things she has done in her life, just as we like to hear about all of your cool stories. In addition, she was nice enough to help out, which has to be somewhat scary and overwhelming to anyone less than a pro. Eric, was it?
Fuck you, Jay.
She did a great job, and we all hope you have her on from time to time, except that one fucking queer. Plus, god damn it, she's hot as hell. Carry on, gentlemen. We're listening every day, and of course, Eric eats shit.
That's
Derek,
awesome.
From the Canadian
Thanks,
side.
Derek.
God, so many Canadian listeners.
That's great.
dude.
Isn't
Yeah.
it? I love it. We're an international show.
I know,
mean,
it is what it is.
We're internationally respected and
And people come here for their news, I believe.
That's right.
First
Yeah,
year.
Canadians. I wish I was Canadian. Cooler than we are.
Jay, at one point, while you were gone, Jay, we had a Canadian emailer, and me and Jay, because he got mad at me, because me and Jay made a reference to kind of maybe.
It's a tattletale over here.
Maybe
Guess what, Dad? Jay said Canada wasn't a real country.
we had the.
Are you tattling on
I'm
Jay?
not
You
tattling,
son
I'm
of a
just-
bitch.
What are you doing, bitch?
I just think the Mounties are kind of badass
Well,
with their hats and their horses.
I
That's
was
all I'm
having an
saying.
argument about geology, and I was actually asking Jay kind of this question. Maybe you were here.
Geology, he was having an argument
you
about.
were
No,
here,
let
I
him go,
remember.
Timko. Let him go.
I don't know if you were here. Or
He
not.
was having an argument about geology. Go ahead. What was that argument about? specifically?
I had asked Jay.
The geological.
They were talking about like the Cirrus or Iris stuff, and I was asking Jay like, I was like, is America like a really big country?
Yeah, because that's geology, right? We're now in geology, not geography.
No, geology.
Okay, whatever. So the point is, I was
what
asking.
Geologic region do you live in?
My point of this all is that I was naming other countries, and we had a discussion where Jay referenced, assuming we agree that Canada's a country. It stands
That's
like
hilarious.
size-wise.
I think Canadians would find that funny.
I love Canada, and I loved it more when I was 19, but it's got a lot to offer.
And what about when
especially when you're 19.
Our neighbors to the north are fine people.
I was not tattling.
Kind of.
John chimes in as well on the Beth email. He says, "Fuckhead Ron." He says, "I gotta say that what you guys are doing is fucking awesome. I've been listening since you guys came on, and I'm truly grateful to have this every day. I was a Drew and Mike listener since the '90s, and Mr. Mike Webster, kudos to you. Kudos to you for putting this thing together."
And the Beagle.
Bitch, Jay. Shut up, Eric.
I had him tell me to say shut up. I've had him tell me shut up twice today now, pretty harshly.
Kudos to you for putting this thing together, putting together cast together that's all star. I hate when people just take advantage of it. And the balls on that guy to call Beth a cunt. Fuck him. That is just uncalled for. Sorry for doing something for free, and taking time out of your days to do it just isn't enough. This show is a pillar for my day, and thank you, and hopefully you all prosper soon. P.S. Eat shit, Eric.
Why does that still crack me up?
No,
eat
dude.
shit, Eric. Eat a bag of dicks. Oh, by the way, eat shit, eat dicks.
But I do, every tweet I put out is hashtag with the Detroit Cast and hashtag eat shit, Eric. So I'm trying. I'm trying to get it going.
It's working, man. Every one of our wonderful listeners does it.
I'm not
It's awesome.
normally so self-involved with that, something like that, but it's just so funny, and it would be so humorous to me that if this got big and somehow
I'm gonna put it on shirts.
Right.
Eat shit, Eric will be on a shirt. Yes.
Here's a final one from Mike. Perspective for Big E is the right line.
boy.
Don't mean to pile on Big E, but eat a bag of dicks.
Of course.
Here's a story about a guy with no arms or legs.
Oh no! Please no!
Oh no!
Please,
Tell me he's a pussy hound.
Oh, you son of a bitch! Fuck! Who is this guy? Fuck him!
Hold on, we've got a picture of this cat.
No!
No arms or legs, and has women throwing themselves at him.
Well, of course they do. They probably feel bad for him.
No. Well, listen. Due to his faith as
What do you call a guy with with no arms and no legs?
What?
Better at getting pussy than Eric.
Fucking Christ!
Check him out.
Oh, fuck this guy!
Oh, that's hilarious. He's got jean shorts. He's wearing jorts.
And he's veering. Yeah.
Of course he gets pussy. They all feel bad for him. He probably goes to the bars and like, oh my goodness, and then he bones them and leaves them.
No, you know what? He turns him down. Due to his faith as an evangelical Christian, Nick has chosen to remain a virgin until marriage. Although he's had a long-term girlfriend in the past. He's very modest, but he gets marriage proposals from women all the time.
Fuck this guy.
Yeah.
Dude, looking at that picture, does he hop on his dong?
Yeah, what is he?
Seriously?
No, he hops on that thing right there.
That is an air shot of him jumping into a pool, I believe.
Dude, he surfs.
Can't jump into a pool.
He's surfing with the chick missing the arm.
If that's his girlfriend, she's hot.
That's the chick that was from that movie, Soul Surfer or whatever, where the shark bit her arm.
He's surfing.
He golfs.
Shit.
He
golfs with his mouth.
Oh, this son of a... Fuck him.
Check him
Is
out,
that him
man.
as a kid?
Yeah, he
He's
does everything.
writing with that thing.
Jesus.
He writes with whatever that thing is.
Fuck.
Is that a foot?
Dude, I'm gonna go home and fucking drink
This guy
myself
rules.
to sleep.
You should.
Love this shit.
The foot what?
It's a foot hand sort of thing. But
I
he's
bet
getting
it's
by,
strong
man.
as hell, dude. I bet that thing is strong.
Check him out, man.
I want to box him.
He's loving life. Want to box him?
I want to kick his ass. I bet he could kick my ass, though.
Oh, my God.
Where's he from? Can we call this?
Yeah, we
dude?
gotta try to find
Not that he could pick up the phone, but
It's just ring.
just ring and ring and ring. I don't know why I have this thing. I can't do anything with it.
Company's over. It's just for some reason he still has a landline. The company's over. It's ringing.
L.A. He's got a publicist in L.A. Or
Nice.
His friend and publicist is in L.A.
I swear to God, everybody but fuck.
I know, dude. We gotta take your arms and legs off, Eric.
Nope.
Give you a fighting chance.
I
for
believe
Christ's
for a
sake.
fact that if I could like maybe somehow lose my arms or something, you know, you get some of that.
Well, keep texting and driving. We could probably
There we
make that
go.
a reality,
Maybe
right?
it'll happen, right?
Or commit a crime and get thrown in jail. Either one.
You get more pussy there too.
I know.
I've learned that. Those guys are crazy.
So this
pussy
guy
guys.
and anyway,
is that it, Jay?
I'm gonna go home and fucking drink myself to sleep.
Good move. All right. Well, let's kill it there for today. We'll go out on that sad note. But we will be back tomorrow with an all-new edition, a Thursday edition of the Detroit Cast. Thank you guys all so much for checking us out and hanging with us, sharing the show. It's actually done a lot to help us build numbers. I'm always skeptical about that stuff. Like, really, do people care and pay attention? They actually do. So thank you guys so much in this room for really starting the ball on that and getting that rolling. I wasn't the one that did it. You guys all did. And I'm getting a ton of new requests, friend requests on Facebook that I hadn't gotten for 2 years. So that's a direct result. So whatever the listeners out there are doing to share it, the new posts, and retweet whenever Jay the Detroit Cast or Eric Fady sends something else.
Big E Detroit Cast, all lowercase.
Big E Detroit Cast at J
Detroit Cast.
Yeah. Okay. And mine is Walters Radio. So find us out there on Twitter, Facebook, and share us, retweet, all that stuff. We really appreciate it. And thanks, everybody, for listening. We'll see you tomorrow with a new edition of the Detroit Cast.
You've been listening to the Detroit Cast with your hosts, Mike and Jay. From all of us at Radio for One Studios, thank you for listening. And as always, thank you, Detroit. Look at what you grow, you know not what.